Right now on Inside Texoma, we are taking a look at the MSU Burns Fantasy of Lights. It's all kicking off this Friday, and here to talk about the opening ceremony and what you could expect this Sunday is Randy Canavell. And Randy, what can we expect?
Well, lots to do that night, Friday, December 2nd. That's our opening night. Lots of entertainment. We'll have hot chocolate available. People don't know that. So Santa Claus, so lots to do that night. We'll be talking about some of the entertainment that we'll have the month of December to kind of spice it up a little bit, Fantasy of Lights, and also how to get involved through donations and lots of thank yous and just how to keep it growing in the years to come. So lots to talk about.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great show. So much tradition, so it's something you definitely don't want to miss. It all starts right now on Inside Texoma. Good morning, Texoma. I'm Ashley Fitzwater. Thanks for joining us for another Inside Texoma. This morning we are taking a look at a city tradition. We're talking about the MSU Burns Fantasy of Lights. And joining me now to talk about that, starting of course with opening day, is Randy Canavell, and we appreciate you being here. And we're so excited. Fantasy of Lights, the countdown officially on, Randy.
That's right. It's
So
coming
this
very
Friday.
soon, this Friday. So we're very excited. We'll have lots of things to do this year. Opening night, like you said, Friday, December 2nd at 6 p.m. Santa Claus will be out there. We'll have live entertainment. Dr. Rogers, our president at MSU, will be giving the introduction. So lots to do that evening.
And that all kicks off at 6 o'clock. Do you recommend people get there maybe a little bit early?
Sure, get there a little early because we'll actually have the Hardin Tower, the main tower at MSU. There'll be a bell ringer. He'll be doing some Christmas stuff from 5 to 6. So
Oh, wow.
we kind of have some pre-event stuff too, so it's kind of cool.
How exciting is opening night every year? You know, I mean, this is an annual tradition for years now, but I'm sure it's special every night, you know, especially that kickoff
It's
night.
special because it kicks off, I think it kind of kicks off the holiday season here in Wichita Falls.
Yeah.
Because this is what this is. It's kind of like our Rockefeller tree, so to speak, you know, like they have in New York.
Sure.
So it's kind of our display, and so it's very special, and it kicks off the holiday season.
And like you mentioned, Dr. Jesse Rogers, you know, the president of MSU, is going to be out there, Santa Claus. So this is definitely a family event. Bring the kiddos, have them go up there, bring your camera, take some pictures.
That's right.
So
Blue Cross and Blue Shield, they'll be out there. They have a big blue bear, which is their kind of their logo, their mascot, and he'll be out there handing out candy canes too with Santa Claus. So lots to do.
Absolutely. And is there going to be like entertainment and stuff going on as well, like choirs or anything else? What can we
This year I
expect?
was successful in getting local choirs and churches involved to come sing at Fantasy of Lights, you know, on site. So we'll have live entertainment from Southern Hills Elementary and also Fan Elementary. And so they'll go on right after Dr. Rogers speaks. So we're looking excited for that.
So a full night. How long does the opening program pretty much last?
About an hour. I mean, if you figure in with the choirs, but I mean, we'll be going all evening with stuff, and I'm sure the media will be out there. So there'll be lots to do.
And then you can walk around with your family, or you know, and check out all of
There'll
the
be
different
lots
displays.
of people because it's always big that first weekend we open up. So lots of people.
Now, in case anyone's new to the area and they're not sure, you know, because whenever you're driving along, you can see, you know, where to go. You have it kind of roped off where you can drive through. But if you're wanting to get out and park, you know, I don't know if we've ever really talked about that.
Right.
Where do you need
That's
to
a good
park?
That's a good question. You can actually park the Moffett Library at MSU. That parking lot will be open. The parking lot, the north parking lot over there by Hardin Building will be open. You can park across the street at the church. There's plenty of places to park, and MSU Police, they know that. So please feel free to park in that area.
So don't be afraid or, you know, feel like you are not allowed to park on the campus. That's perfectly
Yeah, you can
okay
do that.
then.
Correct.
Absolutely, because like you said, a lot of people are going to be out there ready.
So they want their spot.
Absolutely. Well, a little bit of history, if we can kind of go back, you know, like we mentioned, if anyone is new or they weren't able to see the first program that we did on Fantasy of Lights, let's kind of go back to the history of how this all got started, because it is quite a story.
It is a story. It goes back all the way to the late 1920s. Mr. and Mrs. L.T. Burns here of Wichita Falls, they celebrated their first Christmas with just a Christmas tree and a bulb, and their house. Originally, this display was on Clarendon Harrison here in Wichita Falls. It wasn't always at MSU.
Wow.
So as Mr. Burns became more successful in his profession, they started adding more displays every year, and it grew to kind of what it is now. When they passed away, it went to Archer City for 3 years, and then in 1974 it was donated to MSU on the grounds that the public could see it for free. And from that point on, Mr. Bill and Jan Thacker took over and have grown it to what it is today.
That's amazing.
So
Such a great
It's a
piece
nice
of
story.
history.
Yeah,
Yes,
it starts just
really
with a
is.
small Christmas tree and a bulb. and it's grown to what it is now. So it's nice.
And this man doing something for his wife, and then them sharing it with the community, and then now, making it what it is today.
And so my job is to keep it going in the years to come and add to it, put my own little twist to it.
And there have been some new displays. I mean, there's a lot of the original displays out there, but there's also been some new ones over the years.
The robot, and there's a lot of different ones, and hopefully with funds permitting, we'll get some new stuff in the next year or two. So
absolutely, that's always exciting. And just to kind of quickly brag, I understand that it was one of the professors on campus that has been responsible for working and putting in hours and hours upon some of those displays.
Mr. Don Henschel, great gentleman. I mean, we owe him a lot. He created some of the newer displays that you see now, and so a lot of thanks to him. And he's been also involved in some of the renovations, so we owe him a big thank you.
And that's a big part of it, renovations, because, and I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but there was a lot of work going into getting this ready, correct?
Right. This year I spent quite a bit of time getting the displays renovated, especially Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and the Ferris wheel. Kerrigan Career Center and some other companies and schools here in town we can talk about later, but they helped in getting them restored and charged just a pretty, not a fair cost. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy, but it was nice. So
get them all ready for the opening day, which once again kicking off this Friday, 6 o'clock, MSU campus. I know you can't miss the displays, so you'll definitely see it out there.
Right.
We need to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Inside Texoma. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Once again, we are talking about the MSU Burns Fantasy of Lights that is set to kick off this Friday. I know it's always a favorite tradition that I've always enjoyed going to, and I know numerous Texomans are just lining up right behind me. It's just a top list.
It's a city tradition, community tradition, so we're excited to get it underway soon.
And but going back into how much work it really took to make all this come together, it's pretty impressive, because we maybe don't see all the behind the scenes of what it took to get it looking that way.
There's a lot of behind the scenes work. Last time I was on, we talked about the work days back in October, where we invited the community to come out and help us repaint and refurbish some of the displays. And that went very well. About 400 people came out. We worked a day and a half and got a lot of things done. But then there was some stuff that's been going on the last month, some of the more detailed paint jobs and refurbishing that we did. And for example, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Kerrigan Career Center, they totally redid the Ferris wheel for us. Two ladies that I know personally redid Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, put new costumes on them, repainted them. Because you have to remember, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, they're probably 50 to 60 years old. But when you see them now, and I invite the public to look at that when you come out, they look brand new.
Wow.
I mean, it's amazing what some of these people can do with their talent. So
is this the first time they've had new costumes, you think?
New costumes, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, new costumes. The Ferris wheel has been totally revamped. We had to get new things put on it, because it's it's made of wood, and it ages. You have to get those things fixed. So very thankful to Kerrigan Career Center for doing that. So.
Now, when you say they also redid, are you meaning like painting? Because that's a lot of it. So
painting is a lot of it, but new costumes, because they're made out of wood. Some of the wood is kind of rotted, so we redid the wood a little bit. And so it's some very skilled craftsmen. I mean, it's just you get everybody's talent together, and it's amazing what they can do, really.
And you said a lot of this done with no profit to them, or very little profit to them.
A lot, we had the bears, and all the bears and polar bears at Fantasy Lights were totally cleaned up, shampooed. They look brand new, and Service Master Wichita Falls did that, free of charge. All I had to do was make them a sign saying that they had adopted those bears, and they did the work on it.
Wow.
And that's usually a $300 job. So what can I say?
Yeah.
That shows you Wichita Falls, our hospitality right there.
Absolutely. Just caring enough to give back to the community.
Exactly.
And I know there's others on this list who have done so much. The robot, another big one.
The robot, everybody loves the robot because it blows bubbles and it lights up. But what people don't realize is, there's a gentleman that's in charge of doing the bubbles. He pre-mixes about 90 gallons worth of bubbles before Fantasy Lights. We took the robot to a local body shop, Abel's Custom Paint and Body. They totally repainted it for very little, just at cost. And so, I mean, that's usually an $800 job, and he did it for half that.
Wow.
And the robot's pretty big, so it's almost like painting, a car. So he redid it, and it looks great, and so we're excited about that.
Now, is this something that has to be done every year, or, to these particular things? I know you said Snow White and Seven Dwarfs is really the first time it's been revamped.
Right.
So This is kind of a fresh look this year,
Right.
not something you'd even see every year, correct?
Maybe not every year. I think with how the weather treats these
Mm-hmm.
displays, if we have nice weather this year, that'll help us out. But it just depends. Age has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the robot, I think we've had that repainted. Probably every other year, every couple of years, it has to be repainted.
That's impressive about the bubbles because you don't ever think
People
about
don't
that.
think about that. People just think we pour Palmolive soap and
Yeah.
then go for it. No, but you actually have to pre-mix it because you want the bubbles to stay going while in air. That's what kids love. So you got to
Yes.
keep that going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Anybody else? I know the volunteers, kind of going back to that work day that you were talking about, spent, it was pretty much an entire Saturday. You guys fed them lunch and everything.
That's
but,
right.
I understand some electricians really did some
Yes.
awesome work that day.
Yes, Mr. Justin Boone and the electrical union here locally, they all came out 2 Saturdays ago and plugged in all the Fantasia lights, like all the electrical stuff. They did it all for free. Took them about 3 or 4 hours. We obviously gave them coffee and stuff because it was cold that morning. But they came out. All the electricians came out. They did a great job. They always do it every year. It's kind of like a tradition for them. And that's what people in Wichita Falls probably don't realize is all the volunteerism is kind of like tradition. It's just something that they've always done, and the people before them did it. So that's what keeps it alive. So
Their way to give back. Huh?
that's right. And we still have a lot of volunteer behind the scenes going on up until the last minute. So
So there's still
not done
time
yet.
to help?
Not done. Still time to help. There's some time to help. Once we start putting out all the mannequins that week up, Fantasia lights, people want to come by, tell them to contact me. So 397-4786 is my extension. So
Now, let me ask you this. If you did not have the volunteers, if you did not have the organizations that we talked about volunteering or doing this at cost, if you had to pay full price for this, would Fantasy of Lights continue? I mean, or how would it be different?
would it continue? Yes, but I think we would be struggling. I think we would be always in the red in our budget. It takes at least $40,000 to operate it every year.
Goodness.
That's a lot. I mean, once you take care of all the volunteers, buy all the paint, do all the things you need to keep it going, it adds up really quick. So $40,000. If we didn't have the help of everybody, we'd be struggling to keep Fantasia Lights alive, and it would probably end up disappearing. And we don't want that.
No.
So it's a city tradition.
So it's important to keep those volunteers, and if you can ever give back, whether it's through the financial donations, which I know we're going to get to, or
Sure.
your time, which we've seen is, your talent and your time is
Right.
basically just as important.
That's
So
important.
that's pretty awesome. Well, a big thanks as well. We would like to say to those people who have donated so much time and effort. That's really impressive and appreciated. So we need to take another quick break, but we're going to be right back with more Fantasy of Lights right here on Inside Texoma.